So today we've got this really interesting collection of numbered entries. It's quite a mix. Lots of different observations and
A
thoughts.
real variety, definitely. Covers a lot of ground.
Okay, so let's dive right in. One thing that jumped out at me pretty quickly was this whole idea of change or
Hmm.
reinvention.
Hmm.
Entry 3197 mentions how reinventing yourself always ends up reinventing your relationships too. It even says reinvention is just a nicer word for change.
That's interesting. It frames change as something maybe less scary, more active.
Maybe. It definitely points to how we're always, evolving. It's not static.
No, definitely not. And if you look at entry 3181, the idea that every day is a search for new relevance
Right.
fits perfectly, doesn't it? Suggests this change isn't just big moments, but a constant daily thing, adapting, finding your place again and again.
So it's this continuous negotiation.
Hmm.
Who we are, how we relate, like identity isn't fixed. It's, well, you said it before we started, like a verb.
Yeah, constantly in motion, reshaped by what we do, what we look for.
And then there's that other entry, 3172. It's a bit bleak, actually. The idea that a world ends when there's nowhere left to go.
That one's heavy.
You could take it personally, like hitting a wall. But it also makes you think about, society needing to keep exploring, needing new frontiers.
Absolutely. It touches on stagnation, doesn't it? If there's no sense of possibility, no forward movement, what happens then? To optimism, even.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. There's a whole cluster here around creativity, art, skill,
Yeah, quite a few entries on that.
like 3196. It makes this distinction between being a musician and being an artist. What do you think is the difference there, really?
Well, I guess.
Oh.
Maybe it's about originality, intent.
Mm,
A musician could be incredibly skilled, technically brilliant, right?
sure.
But an artist, maybe they're trying to push boundaries more, offer something totally new. Like entry 3192 says, finding a new way to be through creating.
A new way to be. I like that. Then entry 3190 says something really counterintuitive. Art isn't supposed to be interesting.
Right. That's a head scratcher at first.
What could that mean?
Maybe interesting here means, like, just grabbing your attention for a second. Superficial.
Okay.
Whereas real art aims for something deeper, even making you uncomfortable, not just, oh, that's neat.
So, not just novelty, but something lasting. But doesn't art need to be interesting initially to draw you in?
That's the tension, isn't it? Perhaps it means avoiding only being interesting, lacking that deeper impact.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the difference between a quick distraction and something that stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of links to the AI discussion too, doesn't it? Entries 3185 and 3165.
Oh, yeah. The AI music generation.
They talk about how with AI, you're sort of waiting for it to spit out something interesting.
Whereas human creativity,
Hmm.
it can just bubble up maybe quicker, more unexpectedly.
And that analogy of the human data set experiences, emotions being like the universe compared to AI's digital library.
It really gets at the sheer complexity of us, doesn't it? AI works from its training data, patterns it learned.
Yeah.
Humans draw on, like, well, everything. Life. Much less predictable.
So much more potential for surprise, maybe.
I think so. And entry 3146 raises a really vital point about that. The worry about AI.
Which is?
Well, if making music becomes too easy, just push a button. Does that kill the incentive for young people to really dedicate themselves, to struggle with an instrument, learn the craft?
Like it lowers the barrier, but maybe also the reward. You might miss those big leaps forward that come from someone saying, I want to do that, and putting in the hard work.
Exactly, that deep engagement.
And speaking of skill, entry 3183 warns about life becoming meaningless if we stop cultivating skills, even if we were experts before.
Yeah, that relevance isn't just something you achieve once. It needs constant attention.
So skills aren't trophies you just polish.
No, they need exercise.
Oh.
Otherwise, maybe we lose that sense of purpose, that connection. And entry 3170 hints at attention. Maybe too much focus on perfect craft can sometimes stifle the raw, new ideas.
Mm-hmm. Like technique overshadowing the spark.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And then 3130 and 3113, they say artists have to find the art, not just make it.
Find it. Like
Yeah.
it's already out there.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it implies listening, being receptive, tuning into something that wants to be expressed, not just forcing it.
A process of discovery.
Right. And entry 3134 reminds us this personal discovery. It might have nothing to do with what's popular, what everyone else likes.
Skill and popularity aren't the same thing.
Definitely not.
Okay, let's shift again. Human behavior, how we see things. Entry 3199. how a perspective shift can totally change your life.
Oh yeah, the power of reframing.
We've all had those moments, right? Suddenly everything clicks differently.
Absolutely. An obstacle becomes a challenge or something you ignored suddenly seems fascinating. It highlights how subjective reality is.
Sure, it really does. And entry 3182 is much more direct. Patterns of behavior lead to more of the same, simple but kind of profound.
Yeah, the inertia of habits, a good reminder to actually pay attention to the ruts we might be in.
Then 3177 looks at why we pay attention to things we see ourselves in. That sort of rubbernecking effect.
The self-recognition thing.
It's a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but it's true, isn't it?
I think it's partly self-preservation, partly empathy. We notice things that resonate with our own, potential dangers or possibilities. It's like learning subconsciously.
And 3162, the idea that you can't know everything because everyone else knows something different.
Huh. Yes, a good dose of humility there.
Definitely highlights the value of listening to others, pooling knowledge.
For sure. No one has all the answers. And 3159, it gives a more nuanced take on screen time, suggesting our brains are still working even when we seem passive online. Challenges the simple, too much internet is bad idea.
Right, it's not always just zoning out. Okay, then 3151 talks about how individual views, especially if they're a bit out there, can get squashed by groupthink.
Ah, the pressure to conform, even if you privately think something different.
Yeah, it warns against just going along with the crowd when your gut tells you otherwise.
It takes guts to stick to your own interpretation sometimes, doesn't it? Especially when it's unpopular.
It really does. And 3141 is quite sobering. How people can hurt others just by being themselves without even realizing it.
Oof, yeah. Unintended consequences, the importance of self-awareness, I suppose.
But on a slightly more positive note, 3135 points out our unique human ability to see and critique ape-like behavior in ourselves or others.
Interesting. Suggests a level of self-awareness, a capacity for judging our own instincts.
Yeah, like we can step back and say, hang on, that's just base instinct talking.
Whether we act on that insight in another story, maybe, but the potential is there.
Okay, technology and society. Big topic in these entries, too.
Yeah.
3175 makes a really important point. Politics often does more damage using the tech than the tech itself does.
Yes, don't just blame the tool. Look at who's wielding it and why.
It's about implementation, the structures around it. Scapegoating the tech lets the real issues off the hook.
Exactly. And 3174 gives that neat historical view. What gets us excited culturally? Film, web design apps.
Yeah.
Now AI.
Right. And it makes that interesting contrast with early rock and roll having this kind of non-work, almost anti-establishment vibe.
Yeah, which feels different from the current tech excitement, which is often tied up with careers and startups and, well, work.
It is different. And 3171 puts the AI creativity question back on us. It's not just can AI be creative, but whether we're going to let it.
It frames it as a choice, human agency, fate versus destiny, almost.
We have a say in how this unfolds.
We absolutely do. We need to think about the implications, shape its direction according to our values, which ties into 3142. The warning about chasing new tech, panning for gold maybe, and losing sight of deeper stuff, the soul.
A call for balance, definitely. Don't get blinded by the shiny new thing.
Which leads right to 3131. We need philosophical tools to deal with AI. It's not just engineering.
We need to think about what it all means.
Exactly. What does it mean for being human? For creativity? For intelligence itself? And 31638 tries to define that. When is a machine really thinking? Suggests it's about originating a thought, expressing it independently.
Not just remixing data.
Right. Real origination.
Okay, belief, truth, knowledge. Entry 3193 defines belief as collective knowing.
Simple but powerful. Belief isn't just personal, it's shared, reinforced by the group.
Huge implications for how ideas spread and stick.
Absolutely. And 3187 gives us that warning about bad learning, just memorizing and then forgetting.
We've all done that for exams.
Yes. True learning means understanding, retaining, being able to use it.
And 31157 shows how truth gets clearer through consistent everyday processes. Like recording the weather daily makes climate change undeniable over time.
Yeah, it makes the abstract concrete, the power of accumulated observation, empirical data.
It reveals the patterns, and 3150 says that to really learn, you have to actively fight your own ignorance. Be open.
You have to want to know and be willing to let go of what you thought you knew. Resist just staying comfortable.
Okay, nearly there. Success in time. Entry 3200 defines success by how the future is defined. Future focus.
It's about your vision, Are your actions now building towards the future you want? It's about legacy, not just quick wins.
Shaping what's next. And 3178 reframes wasting time. It says it's not inherent in the activity, it's just regret looking back.
That's a liberating thought, isn't it? Time just passes. Whether we label it wasted depends on our perspective later on.
Maybe nothing's truly wasted in the moment. Huh. Okay, ambiguity. 3136 lists 3 types: intentional, accidental, and error.
Useful. Helps you analyze why communication breaks down. Was it on purpose? A mistake? Just carelessness?
Helps you be clearer and maybe understand others better. And 345 points out the challenge for communicators, writers, speakers, understanding the audience's emotions, because often that's more important than the bare ideas.
Ah, yes. Connection. It's not just data transfer, it's reaching people emotionally.
And 3186, a simple one. Music can become just noise if it drowns out the lyrics. Balance is key.
Clarity, yeah. Making sure the parts work together, not against each other.
Finally, some paradoxes. 3180 distinguishes miracles from just any happy accident. Suggests miracles have more weight, significance.
Maybe, yeah. Beyond just luck, a deeper meaning or improbable convergence. And 3161, that paradox of originality emerging from copying or generating.
Right. Sometimes messing with existing stuff leads you somewhere completely new.
Unexpectedly. And 3155 suggests using imperfection strategically. Being vulnerable can help you connect.
People resonate with flaws sometimes. Makes you seem more human.
Exactly. Relatable. Less intimidating than constant perfection.
Yeah.
And lastly, 3147, the phrase, "nothing will stop us." It points out that, well, things do try to stop us. Internal doubts, external roadblocks.
It's never that simple, is it?
Rarely.
So, wrapping this up. What a journey through these entries. We've seen this constant theme of change, reinvention.
And the vital role of skill, creativity, finding meaning.
Especially now with technology like AI evolving so fast, it really brings up a big question drawing from all this.
Which is?
How do we, make sure our own unique human data sets, our experiences, our perspectives, how do we keep those valuable and relevant? How do they enrich our collective life, even with machines getting smarter?
And how do we balance embracing the new, the tech, with valuing the wisdom we've already got? That tension is woven through so many of these entries.
Yeah.
Like in 3169, that idea of balancing the old and new.
Yeah. How do we keep our humanity, our creativity, our sense of purpose alive and kicking through all this rapid change?
That's the challenge, isn't it? A fundamental one for navigating the world right now.